Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Hawk. I'm the Director of Sales. Today I'm live with the Evolve 2021 trade show. It's a virtual trade show, so I'm glad you're here. Today I'm going to be covering how to get some more operational efficiency going in your warehouse. I'm going to introduce our new Agility 360 product, and we're going to do some transactions in the warehouse related to pallets. So, our agenda is to take a look at the traditional Agility mobile application that runs via RDP. If you're a customer today, you're associated with this image on a scan gun. Our new application is called Agility 360. It's different from the original because this is now running an app right on the gun itself versus just through remote desktop protocol. And we're going to take a look at how to do package transactions, or pallet transactions, if you will, in the warehouse. So when I move a pallet, it moves everything on that pallet. Good news, the Agility 360 product is now available. And another good news item is that it doesn't require an additional investment. So if you already are doing Agility Mobile, that same license will allow you to do Agility 360. To run 360, you need an Android device, and you'll load the WiSys APK, which is an Android package for software that goes right on the scan gun. It still requires a server. You still need an information server, web server, Microsoft's IIS server. So you can't run it without a server. And another piece of good news is that the Agility Form Studio that you may use yourself, or maybe your consultant has done some tailoring for, the same Form Studio that works on Agility Mobile works on Agility 360. Other new features that the native app will bring us is it can use a picture on a phone or a gun like this. I can capture the geolocation and get the signature too. Let's see how it works. So when I execute on this app, it asks me for my sales order. I scan that, and I've got a couple items that are serialized, so it wants the serial number for these items. So I pick the first one. It knows the customer and everything, and the item number. I'm going to actually scan the item itself to get the serial number and make that association. This is a real-time lookup and association directly to your Macola data. Here's the dishwasher and the serial number for that. And when I'm done, I have those associations made, and I'm going to capture a signature. Imagine the doctor that just ordered his new material, was just delivered. And finally, we've got a photograph, and we're going to capture the photograph of the items being delivered. So here's an image of the dishwasher. Catch that. Do the same thing for the fridge. And finally, I want to get the street address or a picture of the front door of the place that I'm delivering. So I'm sure you can think of lots of different ways this could be used in environments for delivery or for service organizations, things like that. So this is a new feature. It does require some tailoring. Each business use is going to be a little different. So once we figure out what the common denominator is, we'll probably create a test app that people can try out. But I'm imagining that everybody will need it a little bit different for themselves. Okay, so if you've used Macola for a while, we're going to start talking about pallets now. And what about pallet tracking in Macola? So today, Macola handles locations, whether they're physical or virtual. Macola has locations to know where items are. If you want to know where they are in the warehouse, we turn on a bin. And if we want the detail about the item and they have serial or lot numbers, we make those associations. Well, what if we could actually add another layer called the pallet, or really think of it as a packaging layer? So out of the box, the WiSys applications give you a pallet and a carton, pallets and cartons. But other businesses have different product packaging groups, maybe a super sack or a gaylord or a tote. Anything that makes sense, we can create a packaging type for those and add those to your solution. Now, to use agility packages or pallets or cartons, you're going to have to turn on bin control. So that is a requirement to use the packaging layer. So the big advantage of pallets is the license plate number itself, LPN. So many of you have pallets in the warehouse and you have quantities on those pallets and they're in a bin. Well, now we can add a license plate number. So this number on the pallet makes the association of everything on this pallet. So the data that's on a pallet with just scanning the license plate is the item, the bin, the quantity, the serial or lot numbers associated, and also a package creation date. So if you've been reluctant to turn on lot control because you really don't need it, but you'd still like to get rid of the oldest stuff first, looking at pallets by creation date will tell you what pallet is there in its earliest form, and you can send somebody out to get that. We can also catch the weight. Especially if the weights have been added in the item master, we can get a calculated weight for the pallet. So I'm going to do some transactions. I'm going to use Agility 360 to do some. I'm going to use Agility Mobile to do a few others. I'm going to start with PO receiving. I'm going to get stuff off the truck and print a label. Then I'm going to have that product on the dock. Maybe it came in a container. It was flat packed, but you need to put it away. And when you put it away, you're going to build multiple pallets of the same item and then take them into the warehouse and put them away. I'm also going to do pallet production. I'm going to use POP today, but you can use shop floor just as well. And I'm going to produce finished goods like a production receipt on a POP order or a Y count on a shop order, finished goods, but I'm also going to palletize them at the same time. Then I'm going to transfer pallets, and you'll see how easy that is. When I transfer pallets, we're going to then look at those pallets, and we're going to look at the data that's combined between WiSys and Agility and Macola, so that we can actually see a nice flat view of where things are. And finally, I have a sales order. And if customers order pallet quantities and you want to ship pallet quantities, we can just load pallets on a shipment. This is unrelated to building a multiple item pallet. We can do that through PickPack. So don't worry about that. If you're building mixed items today on pallets, this is really about the efficiency of loading pallets by themselves. Okay, let's get started and do some transactions. So this is our traditional Agility mobile application. This is our picking and packing application, but I'm going to start over here and we're going to look at this graphic. And if I look at the orders that are at the pick ticket status, you can see here's my order, 984, for these three items, the ones that end in 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000. These just happen to be pallet quantities, so you're going to see me load that. So this analytic helps us know where orders are in the warehouse and what's being produced. You would normally see this graph go down and billing and invoicing and shipped going up during the day. So it makes a nice way to look at things. We're also going to take a look at this bin, this item package view, and we're going to look at where items are in the warehouse, the staging bin, and the production quantities on those, and we'll get to that in just a second. And I'm going to load this application, which is Agility 360. So we have a lot to look at. So I'm just going to log into the Agility 360 app. When I do, I get the first menu. I can either navigate to other menus right here, or I can just swipe across this way. So the first one, as I mentioned, we're going to do regular PO receiving. I'm going to physically grab the scanner. I'm going to scan my PO number. I'm going to scan the item on the PO, or actually scan the item that's coming off the truck that I'm going to receive to the dock. Now I'm going to catch the lot number, and then it's going to ask me for the quantity. So everything that's come off the truck says that it's 5,000. So I'm going to catch them. They're going to sit at the dock. You'll hear me print labels. So there's my labels for the receiving that I just did. Now what I need to do is close this. I'll just hop over to Pallets, and I'm going to do Pallet Build Multiple. It's really the same kind of thing, but I'm now going to palletize what I just received. So I scan the item, scan the bin where I'm going to get the product from, confirm the lot number that I'm going to use, and enter the quantity that I'm going to put on each pallet. And how many pallets do I want? So now you're going to hear me print 5 pallet labels. All right, I've got my pallet labels. Okay, we'll set this aside, and we will now look at our Agility grid. I'm going to refresh the grid. So the items that I just received, these pallets right here, 500, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So those products have just been received, and now I could do a put away transaction. So I want to move those pallets and put them somewhere. I really like this transaction. I'm going to go ahead and let you look at it again. So here's what I did. I came in here and said Pallet Transfer. And what I'm going to do is take one of those pallets, pallet 500, and I'm going to transfer it to a bin in the warehouse, S100. So when I did that, we're going to go back to that grid right here. So I just moved pallet 500. I can refresh this screen anytime right here. So that's the transfer that I just did. So I just moved that pallet. Let me see if I can do that again so you can see it. So we'll come over here and I'll move pallet 500. I'm going to move it back to the dock. Again, I just refresh this screen and you can see it refreshed right here. So it is really simple to move all that information around. And you notice when I do that, it already knows where the pallet is. It doesn't even ask me for the lot number and the quantity. It knows. It just wants to know, where are you putting it? So I'll put it in the staging bin. Again, refresh. And you can see pallet 500 right here, pallet 500, quantity of 1,000 is in the staging bin. Okay, we're going to move on. And we have reviewed that. So let's go ahead and do a little production. I'm going to use Agility Mobile. Need to enter my name correctly. By the way, all the transactions that I do are date and time stamped with the user that's using the gun. Some of the other warehouse products out there never really knew exactly who was doing a transaction on a scanner. And maybe they were even doing it into an alternate database and then synchronizing. WiSys is doing real-time transactions. So here is my POP pallet production. I have my work order with me right here. So I will grab that. And I'm going to tell the system that I'm going to make some product. I want a new pallet. What production order am I using? The production order says I need to make 100, but only 25 are going to fit on each pallet. I'm also using a feature in Agility called Lot Builder. The first 8 characters, 386, are the same as the work order number. So if somebody gets a product from me and they have this lot number, they're going to know the exact work order that it came off, plus the Julian date will tell me when it was produced. So I'll go ahead and do 25, hit enter, and I'm going to print a label for that pallet. I'm going to do the same thing. New pallet, work order, 25. New pallet, work order, 25. Work order, 25. Now your production line may not come off that fast, but mine does today. So I've just created 4 pallets, 25 each. So let's come back over here, refresh the data. And here are the new pallets that were created. Notice that the pallets for these item numbers, 501, etc., are in the staging bin. Again, I want to do some more transferring. I'm just going to transfer 1. And that's an error because I scanned the work order. I want to scan the pallet, and I'm going to take it to the staging bin. Okay. Now the reason I did that is I'm going to work on the sales order next. And I am going to bring up the Pick and Pack Manager. And in Pick Pack, the goal is to build a shipment. So let's just look at one that's already gone. So here's a pallet, a pallet, a pallet. So as I build things today, you're going to see in real time me building a shipment. And when it's ready to go, I just am going to push one of these buttons over here to ship it the LTL truckload. All right, so let's go ahead and use the scanner. And we're going to do a process called load pallets. So I'm going to load pallets and we're going to build a shipment. There's my new shipment number. And what is my sales order? My sales order is 984. And the first item I'm going to load is the number that ends in 3000. And it's asking me for the pallet. So I'm going to load that pallet. So let's go right when it starts. Imagine you're in the shipping manager's office and you're looking at shipment 426. So good old Joe is out in the warehouse. He's building the shipment as we go. And I can see what's happening as the manager. Now, many times it takes maybe more than a day to build a shipment. So as product is being produced and product goes through quality and products get staged because you have minimum space, you're getting them ready for shipment. I'm building product. I'm staging it as I go. I'm going to see these pallets build up until I'm ready, and then I can call for a truck, route the truck, and print all the documents with WiSys. So I'm going to add another pallet to the shipment. So the order again is that, the item, and the pallet. We'll refresh. I'm going to make you a believer. And we're there. And here we go with the last one. I need to, if you make a mistake, it tells you the order number. Again, got to get that right. And the item and the pallet. Okay. So now we have our order on the truck. We've called for the driver to come get it, the company. And now we're ready to ship it. You can see here the status is not shipped. When I press this button, it's going to do the confirm ship transaction in Macola. It's going to get rid of all those pallets as shipped pallets. Roadway, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pro, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got my calculated weight. You could change that if you need to. And I'm going to print a packing list as an option. You can see here I've got all the detail. Didn't have to write any of that down. And I've got my short form bill of lading. All this is integrated as part of the WiSys document management system. Comes with the product. WiSys also includes the label designer and print engine. Again, if I look at the order here, it now shows the ship status S. That's the shipment. And if I go into Macola, we'll bring up Macola and we'll look at the sales orders. I did that twice. So my sales order was 984. And I'm going to look at the order. Here's what's on it. The status is shipped. And I have all the line detail at the line comment level. So I can tell that that particular item was shipped on that particular shipment, date and time with the tracking pro number. So it's all integrated with Macola. It's all real time. You don't have to stress about writing your own interface. WiSys has the product available that you need. So that's my presentation. Your next steps would to make contact with your account manager at ECI, or you can contact me directly. I'm bhawk@wisys.com. Thank you very much for your viewing the webinar today.